Welcome. This is Bound 60 Minutes. That show that gives you the opportunity, rare opportunity, to meet opinion leaders in our communities. People who shape the decisions, people who are part of the process that leads to leadership, forming the constitution, people who have held these realms of authority, people who have spoken, who are taking decisions on your behalf, people who are in positions to change your life. That's what we are here to do. This show is that platform where you get to meet them, you ask the questions, we provide the platform, and then they respond. Again, like we always say, none of the questions has been seen by the guests here. All the questions are first time to them, and of course, there are no prepared answers. Bear in mind, it's Bound 60 Minutes. You can follow us on all social media platforms. It's live on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My name is Ehizoji. And with us today is the presidential candidate of the Young Progressives Party. He is a political economist, he's a lawyer, he's a former central banker, he's grounded in the economics and social runnings of almost every facet of our daily lives. I'm talking about none other than Kingsley Moghalu. Thanks for joining us, sir.
Thank you.
Let's start off quickly. When did you first decide to be president of Nigeria, and why?
Good. I made this decision while I was a professor in the United States. I was a professor of practice in international business and economic policy at the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy at Tufts University. Those who know that the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy is one of the world's most prestigious graduate schools of international affairs, and that Tufts University is one of America's premier universities. So while I was teaching there between 2015 and 2017, after I left the central bank in 2014, that was when I made the decision to run for president. I think sometime in 2016 or late 2016 or early 2017.
Okay, now beyond the time, what specific events or series of events, what pushed you to the edge to say, whatever it takes, I will lead 200 million people?
Absolutely. I think what happened was my disappointment at the performance, the very inept performance of the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. Based on the hopes that we have all invested, many Nigerians invested a lot of hope after the disappointment of the Jonathan years. That's why President Buhari won the election against all odds in 2015. And we felt that now that the citizens had spoken, and that an incumbent could be removed from office because democratically people were not satisfied, that the person who replaced him would perform at a higher standard. So as I watched the first year turn into a very disappointing conclusion by the end of 2015, as we got into 2016 and we got in full blown into the recession, I began to say to myself, my heart bleeds for my country. I saw poverty rising. I saw insecurity rising. I saw the herdsmen, rampaging across the country on various killings, and no real leadership to bring them to accountability. I saw Nigeria standing in the world. I saw foreign investments begin to decline very sharply. And I said to myself, you know what? I love my country. I want to engage with Nigeria in a position of leadership, but I don't want to be a technocrat anymore. What really makes the difference is political leadership that is competent and visionary. And that's why I decided that I would offer myself to Nigeria by running for president. I think this decision crystallized by early 2017. This decision had pretty much crystallized. And I decided I would have to leave the university to come back again.
So you're saying over a period of about 13, 14 months, you have it all worked out, and then you made popular the phrase, it is time. Time for what exactly?
Time for something new. Time for something different. Time for something more. Time for a paradigm shift away from everything we have known about leadership in Nigeria, which is not leadership at all. Everything we know about leadership in Nigeria is just politics. Lots of food is ready, politicians perambulating all over the place, pursuing power and authority for their own sake, but not for the sake of service to the people, and with no accountability to the people. So that's what I mean when I say it is time. It is time for a paradigm shift. The politicians have always won. I think it's time for the people of Nigeria to win.
Okay, now I am Mustafa. I'm a 24-year-old farmer. I reside in Kebbi State.
Yes.
My name is Felix.
Yeah.
I'm a pensioner.
Yeah.
I'm 67. I wait for my neighbors or well-wishers to give me handouts. I am Iyabo.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Southwest Nigeria. I'm a widow. My husband was killed fighting Boko Haram.
That's right.
It is time, the paradigm shift.
Yeah.
The words, the nomenclature, it's words.
Yes. What does it mean?
What does it mean?
Yes.
Why you? Why should I listen to you?
Absolutely. Let me tell you why you should listen to me, and then I'll tell you what I mean specifically with the examples you have given of Felix, Iyabo, and Mustafa. I'll speak to three of them. But beginning with why you should listen to me. First of all, I've never been a politician. And I think that's one important reason why you should listen to me.
Couldn't it also mean that you don't have experience in this field?
No, it doesn't mean that, because I'm not a green horn. Somebody who has been a deputy governor of the Central Bank of Africa's biggest economy. Somebody who has reached the rank of a director in the United Nations International Civil Service. Somebody who has been a professor at one of the prestigious universities in the world is not somebody that you can ever faintly say does not have the experience to be president. The experience to be president is the experience in leadership, institutional leadership. What's your track record? Sorry. What have you done, and how well have you done? It is not the same thing as just getting up, being a young man with aspirations and saying you want to be president without any real experience at leadership. In the United Nations for 17 years, I worked for the UN, and I helped to fix and rebuild broken countries like Cambodia, like Rwanda, like Croatia after the wars of the former Yugoslavia. So when we talk about nation building, it's something I've done at very high leadership levels. As a deputy governor of the central bank, I was at the commanding heights of the management of the Nigerian economy. And as a professor, I have taught and mentored people from all over the world who will be leaders in their own countries. So you should listen to me, therefore, because I understand governance, I understand economic management, I understand nation building, I understand international relations and diplomacy. These are the things that will confront the president of Nigeria every day. And there is nobody else who is running for president today that has experience at the leadership level across those three things the way I do. Now, speaking to Mustafa, Iyabo, and Felix, let's start with Iyabo, who's a widow. Her husband has been killed fighting in the wars of Boko Haram. I will tell Iyabo, here's what my government will do. One, as a government, we have a very, very strong feeling and position on the role of women in society, and especially widows, the fate of widows. My government will set up a fund, a widows support fund, for women who have lost their husbands but are below a certain income threshold. It's a big problem in our society. It's so prevalent. And I thought about it. You see, it's not just about copying what happens in Japan, or copying what happens in China, or copying what happens in America. We are Africans, and we know what widows go through. My mother is a widow. You see what I'm saying? If she didn't have a son like me at the levels I had reached in life, she would have had a very difficult time. Do you understand what I'm saying? So think about the average ordinary widow in Nigeria who has to fend for herself, maybe with little children, no real source of livelihood. As a government, we would like to support them. Now, concerning Felix, 67-year-old pensioner, surviving on handouts. Here's what we will do. My government is going to create a proper social security fund to take care of the elderly and the infirm. The people who have had a productive life, but, they're no longer able to fend for themselves as such. And the economy is, of course, quite difficult. So we will have a social security fund for the elderly. We will, of course, pay pensions to those who deserve it. The fact that governments in Nigeria are owing anybody a pension, it is, in my view, a crime. It is criminal not to pay people who have spent their productive years working for the government, working for the public, and you owe them their pensions. You are telling them that their loyalty and their service was in vain. No Nigerian in my government as president of Nigeria will suffer that fate. That's my answer to Felix, the pensioner. To Mustafa, the 24-year-old, what did you say he was named? A farmer. I will tell him, in the Kingsley Moghalu presidency, in the YPP government, here's what will happen. We are going to make farming so cool and so lucrative for you. You would want to be a farmer in your next life, assuming you believe in another life. And here's what we're going to do. We are going to bring innovation to agriculture. We are going to be investing in high yield seedlings that will have massive amounts of yield with small acreages. We are going to bring value chains to agriculture, and we're going to invest heavily in all that. It's not just cultivating the land. We are going to invest in storage. We're going to invest in transportation of harvests. We're going to invest in storage. We're going to invest in processing. And we're going to invest in exports. In fact, I'm coming up with a specific Professor Kingsley Moghalu Center of Agricultural Excellence that I'm going to use as a pilot program to demonstrate what agriculture will look like in the Kingsley Moghalu presidency. This farm project will be established within the next 2 or 3 months. So that's how I would look at agriculture. Innovation, technology, bringing technology into agriculture, and bringing the value chain approach. Now, how are we going to invest in all these things? As president, my government is going to set up a 1 trillion naira venture capital fund.
1 trillion naira?
1 trillion. That will invest in new businesses, mostly for young people, many of whom may be unemployed. And through that, you will not only create a lot of wealth, stimulate the economy, but you will create millions of jobs over 4 years. Now, how will that 1 trillion venture capital fund work? This is not credit. The problem with access to finance in Nigeria is that the whole concept is based on credit. Meanwhile, credit, which is, you must pay back. But credit is very difficult in Nigeria for 2 reasons. 1, you may not have the collateral to be able to borrow. 2, even if you borrow, interest rates are extremely high. And that's because the infrastructure in this country does not exist at the level it should. And this makes the cost of capital expensive. It is also because of monetary policy of the central bank, which is tight in order to fight inflation. So the adverse effect of fighting inflation successfully is tightness of money and credit. To solve this problem, I'm actually trying to, my government is going to solve this problem in a very fundamental way. And that is that pumping capital into a capitalist economy cannot only be done through banks. It should be done through venture capital and private equity, a lot more than what we have now. So this venture capital fund will not lend you money. They will invest in your new business and co-own it with you. You will share the profit with them. After some years, when they've made back their own profit, they will exit and you continue. This is how so many huge multinational corporations today were founded as small firms using venture capital. This is what my government is going to do. Where will that 1 trillion naira come from? 500 billion of it will come from the present social investment fund that this government has set up, but which we know has not achieved the purposes that it is claimed to have been set up for.
So it's not a case of the system has failed, but it was not properly implemented. policy of this government. So you are not saying the policy, the social welfare program of the Buhari administration has failed.
It has failed because it has not worked.
But you still want to retain the structure.
No. You see, it's misconceived because they say that they are giving money, 5,000 naira a month or whatever they say they are, to unemployed people, school feeding programs and all those types of things. It should be totally reconceptualized. What you need to make an economy take people out of poverty into the middle class is not to be recycling poverty. That's what you're doing when you're telling people who don't have jobs. What will 5,000 naira do for them? Even the so-called trader money that they're distributing in the market, 10,000, what is that? You need real investment to get businesses going. 10,000 naira is what somebody will eat in 2 days. So it's just a propaganda stunt. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't address the problem in reality. The venture capital fund will address the problem in reality, and we will then have a separate social security fund.
We'd like to take a moment there to take a break.
Sure.
When we come back, we continue the conversation on the economy, politics, and security. Stay with us.
Yo, what up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your favorite boy, Amo Shine.
Yeah, Mr. Song is the Kingmaker.
If we're not that,
Leo the Silver.
Fanika,
Angel.
always download Bounce News.
Bounce News.
Bounce News app from
The Google Play Store.
and your Apple Store.
It's fun.
Keep bouncing.